And so it's important to understand that when your brand is out there, it is speaking for it's speaking for you. It is speaking in places that you can't see, you can't hear, nor can you interject, nor can you contribute. Your brand is so powerful that it's going to keep that person coming back, because that is what it's not marketing, it's the brand that keeps you top of mind of people when they say, I need this.
Welcome to the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast. Let's get into the show.
Hey everyone, this is Agostino. For many of you guys out there listening and building that credibility you need to raise capital and get deals begins with having a website and a digital brand working for you. For some, it means creating that brand itself. And maybe for others, you may already have all that in place, but it just means you have to do some SEO marketing and some optimization. And with that in mind, the goal is to convert that person looking at your material to turning them into a potential lead and hopefully an investor in you or in one of your deals. Well, today's guest understands this. Back in 2016, he made the shift from corporate to becoming Mr. Social Entrepreneur and giving back business tips on his podcast, Let's Talk Marketing. He knows that you cannot apply a cookie cutter approach to your marketing efforts. So based on this premise, he and his team has built a consulting group, a marketing group, and a website business services company. Now, as the founder of NW and Associates, he helps his clients build, create, and scale their businesses. Now, with all that, I'd like to welcome my good friend, Nathan Webster. So, Nathan, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Agostino. I enjoy the Bulletproof show. Let's do it, baby. Let's make it happen.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. All right. Guys, if you like what Nathan has to say, you can reach him via his contact page at nwwebsterllc.com. If you like our content, please don't forget to leave a comment and rate the show. It helps us out tremendously when you do. Finally, if you text the word freedom to 202-410-4202, get our free ebook, The Bulletproof Guide to Finding a Broker. Okay, Nathan, go ahead. Tell the listeners a little bit about you, how you got your start, and all the great things that marketing can bring someone.
Hey, thanks again, Agostino, for having me on the show. I appreciate it, man. I think what you're doing is really awesome, because I think at the end of the day, if you're not marketing, you're not selling. And when you're not selling, and I want to be clear, marketing is not selling and selling is not marketing. If you're not marketing yourself, you're not selling. And when you're not selling, you're not closing. And when you're not closing, you're not enjoying the life that you want to live. You're settling. And as I tell my kids, I'd rather live a life that I have built for myself than settle for what is going to be given to me. So when it comes to marketing and selling, they're two different things, but they are married. And you need to ensure that when you are putting yourself out there, put yourself out there as best as possible, because you are the best person to send that message out there, that's marketing. Branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. They are the ones saying that this is what you do, and you want to best believe the message you put out there. You best believe if they're not experiencing that, man, you're going to have some problems. So that's what I love about marketing, is helping our customers, our clients craft that message and then give the experience on the back end to where when they're not, especially our restaurants, when they're no longer in the front of the table, when they write that tip for the receipt or when they're checking in, it's everything they want that restaurant experience to be. And there's no greater feeling knowing that I'm helping those restaurant owners, my clients, my engineers, whomever they are, I'm helping them pay their bills, because there's no other feeling knowing that you help them convert on a client that they never met before, or a customer, because we do both B2B and B2Cs.
Excellent. Excellent. I mean, and that's the thing. You delineated something very, very important aside from sales and marketing, but we'll put that aside for a second. Marketing and branding, right?
Mm.
For those listening out there right now, the brand is sort of like something that speaks for you, right? It's more than just a logo. It's kind of like what you stand for, right? So there's a guy, a social media guy that just bought Pier 1 Imports, right? And Pier 1 Imports just went out of business.
I saw that.
Right, but he actually bought the logo, he bought the list, he bought everything, he bought all the IP, the intellectual property. He paid $31 million for it. 31 million. And the reason why he bought it was because people know, right? They know that brand, they like that brand, and they trust that brand, that when it comes back, what Pier 1 stands for, right? In terms of the materials, in terms of the quality, in terms of the styling of the product. And it's the same thing that goes with you, the listener who's listening right now. That branding is the same sort of thing, right? I mean, it's kind of like what you're going to tell the world about you. Who are you? Are you a reliable person? Are you one that gets a deal closed? Are you one that speaks softly, speaks loudly, whatever it is, right? I mean, now Nathan, how do you help people on the branding side of things?
So, for those listening, you don't have a brand unless you've actually sold something yet. Okay. Let's just be clear. If you haven't sold anything yet, all you have is a logo. You have a name. You have a tagline. There is a psychology. There is an art, and this is the bread and butter basics, the fundamentals. And so, as a sports guy, I always make a sports reference. This is going back to the basics. If you don't have not just a customer, but a recurring customer, then that means your brand is broken. That means your brand needs some work. And it's not, and I'm going to be honest, it's not bad. It's just you don't know your own strength. And so it's important to understand that when your brand is out there, it is speaking for it's speaking for you. It is speaking in places that you can't see, you can't hear, nor can you interject, nor can you contribute. Your brand is so powerful that it's going to keep that person coming back because that is what it's not marketing, it's the brand that keeps you top of mind of people when they say, I need this. As you're saying, Augustino, this is why Hollywood Video is still in business, but it's just a shell, just like Toys R Us, just like Blockbuster, Radio Shack. Those are all companies that have had mega success, and nobody wants to start again from a new to like have that. If I want an electronic shop, can I get a piece of Radio Shack? I think it's with Sears. They wanted to keep Sears alive. I don't know if they can with the solvency and everything, but that brand name has significance and value to where you don't have to recreate the wheel. So right now, I just saw that Home Depot is just just enjoying the fruits of their labor of or maybe no labor of having people spend all their money right now, not all their money but a lot of money refitting their home, because they're spending so much time being home. Well, they don't always have the best materials, but it's a all in one spot. You know, Home Depot, you probably don't know the competitors, but Sears was one of their competitors. And now Home Depot is raking it in because they have the brand that if you want to do something in your home, you go there. But they're not the best place to go to for paint, just like Nike's not the best place to go to for running shoes. There's Brooks. There is a Saucony. There is and I can keep going, but this is the importance of a brand is it becomes more clear as you delineate what you need. You go to that expert, but you don't become an expert overnight, just like you don't become a baker overnight. You learn from buying the cheap stuff to the more expensive stuff because quality matters. And that's what a brand does. It sets you apart because you exude quality.
Right. Now, how does an individual, how do they define their brand? Like, how would you recommend someone listening right now, right? They're a blank slate. Well, let's give them some qualities. Maybe they're known for getting out there and being aggressive and getting in front of people, and maybe that's their shtick. But maybe they're not so good at underwriting.
Mm.
That type of person. What would you say to help them build a personal brand?
That's a great question because I think a lot of folks don't understand the power of this internet and as it's shifting, even right now with TikTok, WeChat is on the chopping block, kind of. Um, if you are not, say, on LinkedIn, you are murdering yourself because LinkedIn is the new resume. I just did a podcast on that. It is the new place for you to be seen. The days, and I'm dating myself here, 20 years ago, when I could have just walked in with my resume and talked to a hiring manager, maybe not get the job immediately because it would have been a higher end job, but be called back for an interview. Those days are long gone. They want to see what is your ORM. ORM means online reputation management. They want to see you on some platform. I hear from HR folks all the time. If they can't find you, that's a red flag because they expect you to be developing your ORM to the point to where your skills can be found. I think it was a Marketo study that said 60% of shoppers want to do the research as they are shopping so that by the time they make that purchase, they pull that trigger, they don't have to keep going back and forth. They've already done the research. So, as a personal brand, you need to ensure that you at least own your name as a domain. I teach that in my digital marketing 101. If you don't own your name, because like with me, say with Instagram, I'm Nathan Webster 543. Someone beat me to the punch. I'm just Nathan Webster. But on LinkedIn, I'm Nathan A. Webster. If you haven't already start to own that, because Google is indexing more, including social media sites, but they are not indexing as much. So chat or not chat bots, but bots are not going through the web crawlers. They're not going through as much. So you have to work harder. So that means you got to put out more content, which means if you're not putting out content, you got to put out content on your own platform. So the two things of advice that I can tell you is get on one channel. You don't have to say get on Facebook or excuse me, you don't have to get on all 5 platforms and say I'm on Facebook or I'm on here. Find one. The easiest one to do is create your own website. That's going to teach you so much about what you do and how you can service your clients or prospects. And just by doing that, yes, you might not get a lot of traffic, but the more and more you get people to come to your site, the better you become. But if you don't want to create that on your own, you can create your own profile on LinkedIn. I would say start there. And if you, let's just keep it real. If you don't know what you're doing, LinkedIn has a great platform called Linda. They have lots of classes that you can get on there for, and it's super cheap right now because of COVID. So don't sell yourself short because at the end of the day, marketing is an investment in yourself.
Right. And you know what? Something you just said there was gold, right? Go and create those profiles. Because you have control of the profile, you can tell people what you're about, right? So if you put up pictures of you playing golf and getting smashed, or versus you looking at properties,
Mm,
when someone when someone that wants to invest in you goes to your Facebook page, and they will go to your Facebook page, and they
yes,
see that kind of stuff, they will not invest with you, right? It's bar
correct.
none. You're done. You're baked. That's it, right? But if they go there and they see you have video, you put up content that shows you going and looking at properties. Maybe you're preparing to show a multifamily deal, and you say why you don't like it. What don't you like about the area? What don't you like about the property? Maybe it needs this amount of work, but you know what? Maybe it might be worth it if you put X number of dollars into it. Whatever. Give your opinion. It's okay. Put it on a video. It shows that you are a subject matter expert, that you know what you're
Yes.
talking about. It's so easy to do, right? It's all free. It's like it's free stuff.
Yeah, and it doesn't take a lot of time. I think people get caught up in the lights, the cameras, the action. Like it needs to be like this. No, 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 no. People want to buy authenticity, and if they feel at in the least bit that they are being sold, if you're selling, and which I tell folks all the time, selling is helping, but if you're selling, you're serving. So at any point in that pitch, even in the close, if they feel like you're selling them something that's not going to benefit them to where they're not going to be served, that's not good. So if people buy who they know, like, and trust. So just like what Agostino is saying, it's like put up a video real fast just to show, even though it's business, that you can be personable with folks, that you are just not all business, or that when it is business, like this is how you go about your business so that they feel that what I say to my clients, your website is just to get info from, but social media is where they get a chance to get to know you because it's your activities.
That's right. That's right. Super, super different than marketing, right? So that's
Correct.
branding. Now, when it comes to marketing, though, let's say that person listening right now, they came up with all that stuff, right? They put up a cleaned up LinkedIn page, Facebook page. They got rid of all the bad stuff that could be even perceived as bad. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it's just perceived, right?
Mhm.
That's what it's about. It's not about your perception; it's about their perception, right? Now, how do you handle the marketing side of things? Like, how do you help people with all the marketing side?
So that's man, these are some fire questions. And hey, look, yeah, we didn't script this. There's no template for this. He's just asking this as I go. I'm gonna come back to sports. And we're gonna use the NBA bubble. So
Good.
the NBA chose their best, I'm gonna say I think 9 teams. I think was the best 10 teams.
You're asking me?
Uh
I don't know.
okay, so he's not, so he just they chose the best East Coast teams. I'm gonna say 10, and I think the top nine made the playoffs. And so I think there's 32 teams. So all the other teams that weren't good enough. So think all the things that are not good enough. So if you look at the top three things that you're selling, the top five that you're selling, you need to build that all, like package that all in one, right? And this is what you promote to people. This is part of the 4 P's of marketing: product, price, place, and place is distribution now, because we just no longer just go into one place to buy something, and promote it. People fail to promote. Promote is telling people what it is and the benefits from it. So you got to be able to promote it. And promote it means you are helping folks buy it. So when it comes to marketing, this is putting all your greatest assets together, bundling it up to where you're putting it in front of them, and it's just putting it in front of them, messaging it to say, this is what it can do. This is how it can help you. This is why you need it. This is how it's going to allow you to grow. It's just messaging, but this is where if they don't see it 5, 8, 12 times, they're not going to know who you are. They're not going to know what you do, and think you haven't bought anything unless you're like going on the spur of a moment to where you haven't seen those messages at least 5, 10 times. We buy from things we are most familiar and comfortable with. That's why people buy from people who they know, like, and trust. So this is where the marketing is the messaging. So this could be podcasts, this could be webinars, this could be um, what are those things you download? Uh,
Web, Zoom, like some of the Zoom calls, that kind of thing.
no, when you sign up for a newsletter, but
Oh,
it's
like an
just,
ebook or something. Sure.
yeah, an
Yeah.
ebook. People sign up for a special one-to-one, maybe a mentorship. But these are all things that are free, the freebies or the freemiums, whatever you want to call them. But marketing is where you are putting this message out there, and it's not for you. Okay, to just be clear, this is you serving them to say, I can help you. This is not you grabbing them by the neck and saying, come buy for me. This is messaging that is gently. And this is what I think it would be best. There's a push versus a pull strategy. A push strategy is like buying from 7-Eleven, and you have everything out there. But a pull strategy is to say, hey, look, you come meet me at the door. You tell me what you need, and I'll bring you in slowly to see if this will be a good fit. If at any point of the messaging, if it's not going to be a good fit, then you're not going to have them be a warm lead. But if people have followed those messages, they're going to be a warm lead when they contact you, and they're now interested in seeing how you can help them. And this is where your marketing has now shifted into sales, to where now you get a chance to get to know them, to not just where you're chasing the dollars, but your marketing valve is now shut off. Your sales valve has been turned on, to where now you hopefully you have messaged them the correct things, to where, like, for example, like on my website I have prices, so at no point in time as I'm saying this is what a website costs, will they have the sticker shock, because they have done their research, just like all consumers that are ready to buy. They've done their research, so they're ready, like, okay, all right, so this is how much it's going to be. Okay, there's no surprises. And Nathan, I really want to work with you. I want to work with your team. Okay, here it is. And my close is, again, I'm not like forcing them down and waterboarding them. This is them taking the time to say to themselves, okay, I feel comfortable to move forward. If at any because you don't want them to have buyer's remorse. So when I say, "Okay, I'm gonna send you the contract, and it's gonna be the proposal, the invoice is there," they're like, "Okay, let's go, let's do it. I get it to you by the end of today. Good to go." That's at no point am I selling in the beginning because they are getting to know me. I only sell in that time when I'm sitting in front of them. So I'm like, okay, let's move forward with this because you want it and I want to do business with you because we're a good fit.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because I think people don't realize people love buying stuff. Most people like to buy things. They just want to be sold to.
Oh,
And I think,
so true.
and what you're talking about doing is also a consultative type of style of selling, right? Where you're not ramming it down their throat, as opposed
Mhm.
to like, let me show you how I can help you. Let me show you how I can help you achieve your goals, right? And that's
Correct.
that's that's very very different than trying to ram something down their throat, right? And it's super super different, right?
Yeah, it's almost like this scarcity technique or the buy one get one that has a countdown timer on it. I'm it's Apple has never put anything on sale, and they've
Right,
done it for that specific reason is we have a quality product to where if it's there if you want it, but if you don't want it, don't worry, it's not going on sale and we're not going anywhere either. It's either you want us or and if you don't want us because we're high price and we're not going on sale, then we have other options for you. And so that's how I like to think because I used to do sales, but then the flip side to that is people people say they want a deal, but then they don't understand the quality of the deal that they're getting.
right.
So I would say be careful when you put yourself on sale. Then that means you're discounting your quality. And you never see a Lamborghini on sale or in a clearance section. Or matter of fact, I do that for one of my presentations. There's only so many Lamborghini dealers in the world, so it's not for everyone.
That's right. And the same thing goes for individuals too, right? I mean, if you're just raising money for smaller deals for D class assets versus trying to raise money for an A class asset,
Mm,
two different types of targets, two different types of sales strategies, right? And it's
yeah.
it's it's totally totally different. And you're gonna appeal to each person in a very different way, right? So your D class person who's used to getting a certain type of return is probably not going to invest in an A class asset because the returns are less, right?
Yeah, and I forget, I am talking to real estate folks here. It's really important that you are speaking their language. If they are not like decoding and if it's not for them, and that's an easy no. Like move on because someone else is looking for that specific property or for that asset. So don't think like you have to work with them or see them their way or like meet them halfway if you don't think it's going to be a good fit because again when you walk away their experience is going to be like I don't know about that guy or I don't know if she was really in it for me. It seems like she just wanted to sell. So take the time to understand your client or your customer or the person you want to work with because that specific property is for a specific person. Don't shove it down their throat.
That's right. They can't forget with them, right? With them.
Yes.
What's in it for me?
That's always at the end, they're always going to be asking. And even when I've even had clients that say, "Hey, I'm ready to give you a check today," like, no, I want you to sleep on it. I want you to think about it because sometimes people don't think of all the other like they don't dot the I's or cross their T's, right? Their signature is all sloppy and everything. You need to think for them, right? It's because you want to say, "Is this what you want?" And some people will say, "Man, I'm glad you did that. Thank you. I will always now use you." I'm like, "Oh, I just want you to be happy." And some people just use outline just to use outline, but the folks that say, and I even say to some folks like, "No, I'm good. I don't need a payment." They're like, "What?" Like, "No, I don't need a payment." Now, I don't do it all the time. But it's like, "Hey, this is this I just want to bless you." And when people get that, they're like, "What? I'm not used to that. Like, what? You want to help me?" Like, "Oh, I didn't think because some people are skeptics. Some people have no problem paying, But this is why it's really important to know the person you're sitting across from, and don't just be so quick to have a money grab to where you do them a disservice.
Yeah, and well, and I think you said something like that in the green room, Nathan. Is that you're when you're selling, you're trying to do them a service. You're helping them when you
Yes.
by solving a problem, and for many people that are men, no, not people that are in real estate that are trying to buy real estate, but the investors that want to invest in real estate.
Mm,
There's tens of thousands of these people all over the place. They want to invest in real estate, but you know what? Maybe they're out of state. Maybe they're not. They're not near a good cash flowing asset. But you, the listener, are. If you can demonstrate that you are a capable person,
that's
you can
true.
get in front of that investor. They can co-invest with you in that deal, right? And then that's how you get
Yeah.
that cash flow. But you're doing them a service too. You're giving them a healthy return. They're getting the tax benefits. You focus on that as opposed to, oh, I just want to get into real estate because I want to get into real estate. I don't really care
Mhm.
that much about the investor. You have to always put the investor first, always.
Yeah, and that's what I do with my websites, because a lot of folks say they want to handle it. I'm like, okay, we build it for them and we walk away, but then 6 months later or a year later, okay, we don't know what we thought we could do it, we don't. And this is probably for you listeners out there. You're kind of like gun ho, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. When that investor is say, hey, look, I don't want to do any of it, and you gotta be careful of that energy, because sometimes that energy might be off-putting. But this is why you want to make sure that you are serving and servicing them in a way that they want to be serviced, because you might be so gun ho that you just want to get a sale. When it's like, when that investor just wants a relationship, because that investor may have multiple properties and multiple opportunities, because they're now, it's not about them. They might be looking at generation wealth. They might be looking at an investment property to take care of their grandbabies, right? These are all things that, if you spend the time and make it about the relationship, not about the transaction, you'll get to see that, sure, that you could have flipped something that maybe was like, I don't know, 5 figures, but you could be reeling in, retaining 6 figures on a monthly basis if you're taking the time to get to know them. So yeah, I would not rush the process of the relationship, not at all, because you could be missing out. You're trying to get that golden egg when you could have a golden goose.
That's right. That's right. And this business is all about relationship. You know, that's what it's all about. And there's it's actually a great thing that we do that when we're talking to an investor for the first time, and my group talks to an investor for the first time, we typically need to vet out that investor before we can actually share information with them, right? And we actually tell the
Mhm.
investor this. Typically, the people are really gung ho. Send me information. Send me your deals. I want to see your. Sorry, Joe. Can't send you any deals right now. We really have to get to know you, get to know a little bit about you, what your goals are, and then once we feel comfortable, I'd be happy to share any and all of my deals with you. And I'd love to have maybe even have you come on and invest in some of them. You know, so it all
Mhm.
depends on how you say it. But the point is that it's all built on relationship. Fortunately, the SEC there's a rule there that says how money is to be raised. That is the
And they don't
rule.
play.
Right, they don't play, but it's like it just happens to be that way, and you know what though? When it comes to raising money, that's how it is. It's built on a relationship of trust, you know, and just like you said earlier, they have to know, like, and trust you. That's what it comes down to. You know, that's what it comes down to. So Nathan, when it comes to your business, what sort of other things do you guys do there aside from the assistance on the branding, the marketing, and you mentioned websites as well. Do you guys do other things as well when it comes to maybe helping people build their personal brand and web marketing, that kind of thing?
Yeah, when I first started my company, it was to be a nonprofit consultancy, because I had a nonprofit. And when I had this nonprofit, I wanted to build a community center. And long story short, that just didn't work out, just because I wanted to dominate local and I want to help nonprofits. And our first agent, or excuse me, our first client was in Florida, and they were a marketing agency. So not exactly what we thought our initial start to this game was, until one of my subcontractors said, Nathan, we're really a marketing agency, because we're doing marketing plans, surveys, um, performas, which is kind of crazy. People say, I need help with marketing. I'm like, you really need business development. And when people say, I need some consulting, it's like, you really need to put your business out there, which means you need marketing. And so we've been able to build, when we build websites, we build them to where, and I hate to use this analogy, but at the same time, I'm sorry, but not sorry. We eat what we kill, and the website is meant to kill, and we eat from that, from our killing. And so, in doing so, when we build a website, we think of it with a marketing lens, and we see it through a marketing lens, and we execute as a marketing lens, and we ask you questions with the marketing lens, because the website is a walking business plan, and from our perspective. Now we build it, but some people take it apart, they redo it. So it's like, okay, it is what it is. It's yours. You can do whatever you want. It's your asset. But when it comes to what we do from consulting, marketing, and websites, and there's not a lot that we don't do except for anything that can't be measured. We now live in that digital age where everything can be measured. So don't think I won't say like you don't need business cards, because you do, but I will help you, and this is me being a business coach, help you realize that for that business card, each one is a asset. It shouldn't be a liability. But just like I said, let me go back to the website. If your website has not paid for itself, you're hurting yourself. That business card, if that has not brought in a client, and I don't have my business cards because I don't give them out, they should at least sign up for a newsletter. If you're not getting a return on that stuff, and seeing that translate into some form of relationship, not a transaction, a relationship, then that's where you're gonna have some issues. So I help consult businesses get to where they want to be, and sometimes it's it's as simple as one of my clients. I had a, I almost had to go with them to go get a cell phone, because they never had a cell phone and they needed it for their business. So we've done that. Like it's the little things, to where we've done virtual assistant work for our clients, because some business owners are just not organized, because we were like, hey, we need to get this password so we can send out a MailChimp or Constant Contact, and they haven't had that. So in order to get to that step, we've had to get them organized, uh, to a marketing plan, strategy sessions, a campaign. I call it Kickstart, which means it's both consulting and marketing, because a marketing strategy, you want to be able to put your avatar in front of you and say, and for those that don't know what an avatar is your customer persona. You want to be able to identify who they are, and you might have one, two, or three. You want to be able to put an ad on one, two, and three if you can, if you have the ad spend for it, and you want to be able to generate those demo results, so that you can get that information, get that recon. And that's what I help you understand, because as I said before, marketing is an investment. You don't invest in stuff that you don't know. So the more information you have, the better you are. And of course, information changes the situation. So you might have thought that your number one customer was a male in their 50s, and it turns out it's a woman in her early 40s. That changes hobbies, that changes the activities. So I know that was a long way to answer, but we want to help you get to that avatar to where it makes sense for your business, so that you walk away, especially with those big checks that you want to receive. It's because you're having people rely on you, because you have a great relationship. It comes back to relationship. So
Yeah.
sorry, long way to answer. Help you build the relationships you need to where you can keep your business going.
Excellent. Excellent. No, love it. Love it. Love it. All right, Nathan. So for that person listening right now, what is a one piece of bulletproof advice that you would give them?
Don't shortchange yourself on the skill set that you bring to the table.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, guys, listen, if you want to reach out to Nathan, you can reach him via his website at nwebsterllc.com. Guys, I hope you got some really good insight on how you can apply some great marketing and branding to building your personal business. It's by doing this and doing it right, you can eventually convert those people that are looking at you into actual investors. Okay. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast.